Hey everyone, so today we're going to start, we're actually going to review everything we did last week, so we're going to have practice with all three operations now. So we're going to do adding and subtracting square roots, multiplying square roots, and dividing square roots. So I picked one of the hardest problems from each type and we're going to go over it, and then you can practice this today. So for adding and subtracting, you need the same number in the radical to be able to add and subtract. So if they're not, they always will end up being, so don't say no solution, but you're going to have to simplify. So for example, the square root of 18, the biggest perfect square that goes into it is 9, and it's 9 times 2. The biggest perfect square that goes into 32 is 16. 16 times 2. So we get 8 times the square root of 9 is 3 times the square root of 2, minus 2 times the square root of 16 is 4 times the square root of 2. So now we have 8 times 3 is 24 root 2 minus 8 root 2. And you just subtract them. So you get 24 minus 8 is 16, and you keep the same number in the radical. Now when we multiply, you could either multiply 8 times 18 out first and then simplify, but I choose to simplify first, multiply it together, and then simplify again if you have to. So for example, the square root of 8 is 4 times 2. The biggest perfect square that goes into 18 is 9 times 2. So we get 3 times the square root of 4 is 2. And then copy down your root 2 times 4. The square root of 9 is 3 root 2. So we get 6 root 2 times 12 root 2. So now you multiply the numbers outside together and the numbers inside together. So 12 times 6 is 72, times the square root of 4, because 2 times 2 is 4. And now the square root of 4 is 2, so we get 72 times 2, 144. Now to divide, you always want to multiply by the radical on the bottom. You don't want to leave a radical on the bottom ever. So again, I choose to simplify it first. You don't have to. You could multiply by the square root of 18 over the square root of 18, but I'm going to simplify it. The square root of 12 is 4 times 3. The square root of 18 is 9 times 2. Wow, I just realized I picked 18 in all the examples. So we got 2 times the square root of 3 over 3 times the square root of 2. So now, you don't have to multiply by the whole 3 times the square root of 2. You just have to multiply by the radical on the bottom, so the square root of 2. So now we do 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 2 is the square root of 6, 3 times 1 is 3, times the square root of 4. So to simplify that, we got 2 root 6 over 3 times 2. Our 2's could cancel, so we get the square root of 6 over 3. So we're going to practice all this week. Let us know if you have any questions.